Alright, I'm gonna make a very quick update on the pancar. I've just switched the front end. I'll do the back end later, but I think I'm gonna need another set of those parts from the K car. I thought this would cover left and right, but it actually doesn't. It only covers one side, so or I might be able to salvage some parts. I'll see how it goes. Any case, the reason why I've made the change, so if you've seen the run this morning, the pancar, the all-wheel drive pancar is running really well. I went all the way up to 75% endpoint now, which with a 4.5 turn on an M chassis is pretty scary. I thought the car ran for a short time when I was playing it, but actually when I have the full running video it's like 18 minutes long, so it's really long run time, especially for such a low turn motor. So, and the motor was like really cool at the end. It wasn't burning hot or anything, so I'm really happy with it. The drivetrain lived really well, even though there is all this beautiful gold dust over there, which is from this little brass bearing that I have. It's not a bearing, it's just a brass tube that I have in order to tension the belt and just make the whole thing turn freely. I just didn't have a ball bearing to put. I think I could put a ball bearing and have it a little bit more tension, but so far the transmission has been working really well. Zero problem with the spur. You can see my spur. I'm using 48 pitch. I don't know what size pinion and spur I'm using, but the pretty large pinion, oh, it's 70 teeth. Okay, 70 teeth for the spur, and the pinion I don't know, but it's fairly large. So anyway, the geometry of the car is the same front and back, which is a 3D printed triangle at the bottom and a carbon triangle at the top, which is 3mm thick, and so it is simply traveling for a few millimeters up and down. All this is working extremely well. I'm very happy with it. However, the lower triangle is showing somewhere, I don't know if you can see, but the round 3mm hole that the screw and spring were going through is now an oval. So that is creating a lot of slack in the and a lot of play in the wheel, especially like unwanted camber. So I've had some very strange behavior, if you've seen on the video, from time to time, because the car is quite bumpy and it's only on springs. There is no dampening of any kind, and sometimes it lands with a weird camber on one of the wheel and the car just takes on a direction of its own. So having the carbon parts already, I have switched the upper plate and the lower plate together. This is still exactly the same as before, so it's still about it's not even 2 mil. It must be maybe 2 mil travel up and down. It changes camber when it goes up and down, but it's such a small travel it doesn't really make a difference. And I've used the K chassis, I think it's the K1 from Express parts, to replace the carbon part. And this way, well, I cannot really change the camber or anything, because I'm relying on a vertical. This needs to be perfectly vertical in order to move smoothly up and down. This is basically just M3 screw, and I lathe it to be smooth over here, so there is no threads. Don't know if we can see. There are threads going into the hub, but there is no threads where the spring is and where this meets the carbon, so it's moving freely. So what I have to see now is the durability of this setup. This really doesn't have any flex. It is not much thicker when it comes to where the parts was screwed on to the front bulkhead, so I think it's going to be a very similar deal, and hopefully that's going to remove this little slack that has been creating slowly while driving the car. But I have to say, this is becoming a really fun car to drive. The ability to be having four-wheel drive braking at the end of a straight line is really cool. The only thing I think I'm going to add, I'm going to keep running this body. I really like that body. I know it's another LMP, another car that I have that's a Le Mans body, which is pretty much now starting to be every one of them. I'm going to try to increase the downforce a little bit, so I'll probably add 1 cm straight wing on top at the back here, just a little bit more like I do on my Pro 10s or on my 1.8s. And I think I am going to modify that dude over there to be just maybe a bigger diffuser. I'm not sure. I will see about the diffuser. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but for sure there's going to be another wing at the back just to increase the downforce at the rear, because it's a rocket in the straight line, and if I can just keep it from flying too much, then it's going to be perfect. So I think next step is just testing it with this geometry all the way around. Plus it looks really cool like that. It's like a Star Wars looking machine. Sadly, I still have this yellow 3D printed bulkhead at the back, but you know, a prototype is a prototype. You can see how little space I have. ESC is vertical. Yeah, the car has never flipped at any point. The only parts that got loose a little bit was the screw for the servo arm. Not a big deal. It's okay to have a little play in the steering. It's really minimal. I'm once again using a 3D printed part here to hold the full assembly for the steering, so there might be somewhere later on in that part, but there has been no breakage so far. I have not had a single crash with that car, so I can speak for durability when it comes to crashing, but I try not to crash my cars generally. So that's all this little update. I've posted some pictures of the work in progress when I was doing it on Instagram, and there is the full length video of my drive this morning that's on YouTube now. Well, actually it's before that video, so you can go and take a look at it. So that's all. I'm gonna now move on to do the same thing at the rear, and that car will be a little bit transformed. Alright, so everyone stay safe and sane, and I will talk to you again later. Bye bye.